Hare Krishna, everybody. Welcome, all of you, for today's Ishopanishad session. Let us begin with prayers. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Reading from the book Sri Ishopanishad by His Divine Grace Vishwaguru Abhay Charanaravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Mantra 1. Ishavasyamidam sarvam yatkincha jagatyam jagat tena tyaktena bhunjitha magrudah kasya svidhanam. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Translation. Everything animate or inanimate that is within the universe is controlled and owned by the Lord. One should therefore accept only those things necessary for himself which are set aside as his quota, and one should not accept other things, knowing well to whom they belong. We have been discussing the first mantra of Ishopanishad from the last three sessions. Today will be the last session for the mantra 1. So we have discussed in detail everything that is present in this material world, both animate and inanimate. We are not the proprietors. The proprietor is the Supreme Lord. And He has set aside as everyone's quota for their usage. We must use only that which is set aside by the Lord for our purpose. We should not encroach upon others' assigned quota of things. And we should always be constantly, we should be conscious that Krishna is the owner of everything that is present in this world. So, we will continue to read from the purport from where we left yesterday. The last part is remaining. We will read that. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Human beings are not meant to quarrel like cats and dogs. They must be intelligent enough to realize the importance and aim of human life. The Vedic literature is meant for humanity and not for cats and dogs. Cats and dogs can kill other animals for food without incurring sin. But if a man kills an animal for the satisfaction of his uncontrolled taste buds, he is responsible for breaking the laws of nature. Consequently, he must be punished. The standard of life for human beings cannot be applied to animals. The tiger does not eat rice and wheat or drink cow's milk because he has been given food in the shape of animal flesh. Among the many animals and birds, some are vegetarian and others are carnivorous, but none of them transgress the laws of nature which have been ordained by the will of the Lord. Animals, birds, reptiles, and other lower life forms strictly adhere to the laws of nature. Therefore, there is no question of sin for them, nor are the Vedic instructions meant for them. Human life alone is a life of responsibility. So, these two paragraphs we had read yesterday. So, Prabhupada is mentioning here the difference between human life and animal life or other species. So, human life is a responsible life. What does it mean? What is the responsibility that each one of us have in this human form of life. The responsibility of reviving our lost connection with Krishna. That is the paramount, important, most important responsibility that is there for human beings. This responsibility is not there for animals. Animal life, they are simply engaged in lower propensities just to satisfy their physical needs. Their intelligence and consciousness are not evolved enough to understand the purpose of their existence. That means the soul's full consciousness to the maximum degree is expressed in human life. So, human body, human form of life is such a rare gift given to the soul, even though this human body is also temporary like any other species of life, but it is a wonderful opportunity to cross over the ocean of material existence and go back to our original home, the spiritual world, in and engage there in loving relationship with Krishna. So human life has been compared to a boat in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So if you want to cross over an ocean, you need a ship, isn't it? And that ship should be able to withstand the waves of the ocean. It should be able to give protection to the travelers so that they can safely reach the other side of the ocean. So this human body is compared to a ship which is capable of delivering the soul to the other side of material existence. So the material existence itself is compared to an ocean, which is very difficult to cross over by swimming. However expert a person may be, a swimmer, he cannot cross over the ocean by swimming. He will become tired after some time because ocean is huge, vast. So similarly, the samsara, the ocean of material existence, it is compared to a sagara, ocean, samsara sagara. So we are all caught in this waves of material existence. And to cross over this, we need a proper vehicle. And that vehicle, that boat, is the human body. Now, boat alone is not sufficient. We need a captain, the captain of the ship who can properly guide, sail the ship through the ocean, through the rough sea, through hurricanes coming in the ocean, and safely take the boat, the passenger, to the other side of the ocean. That captain is the spiritual master. One has to accept a bona fide spiritual master once he gets the human body. So, human body means he got the boat, which is capable of crossing over the ocean of material existence. But that is not sufficient. You need to accept a captain to guide the boat so that it safely reaches to the desired destination. So the bona fide spiritual master is the captain which human being must accept. By accepting the instructions and orders of such a bona fide spiritual master, a person is sure to cross the ocean of material existence. Now, along with what does the bona fide spiritual master give us? He gives us instructions. Does he manufacture his own instructions? No. He merely repeats whatever the instructions are there in the Vedic scriptures that is given by the Supreme Lord himself. A bona fide spiritual master never manufactures his own knowledge, his own spiritual process. He simply repeats the words of his spiritual master who is coming in the parampara system starting all the way from Krishna himself. So the favorable winds which help the ship, sail through the ocean and reach its desired destination. That favorable winds are compared to the instructions of the Vedic scriptures. So there are three things. The Bhagavatam says, boat, breeze, and captain. Boat is the human body, which is capable of crossing over the ocean of material existence. And breeze are the favorable The instructions mentioned in the Vedic scriptures, which, when followed properly under proper guidance, one can go to the desired destination. And captain is the bona fide spiritual master who helps us through this journey of crossing the ocean of material existence. So, human body or human life is said to be a responsible life. What is the responsibility? To cross over the ocean of material existence. And one has to execute this responsibility under the guidance of the bona fide spiritual master and accepting the instructions of the Vedas, Vedic scriptures from such a bona fide spiritual master. So, therefore, this responsibility one should never ignore or neglect if one wants to get the best out of his human form of life. Srila Prabhupada says that somehow we have landed up in this material world that is a bad bargain, but we must make the best use of the bad bargain. What is the best use of the bad bargain? To take advantage of Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. Guru is the bona fide spiritual master. Sadhu is a devotee who is following a bona fide spiritual master. And Shastra are the Vedic scriptures, the instructions given by the Lord in the Vedic scriptures. So we must take advantage of Guru, Sadhu, Shastra, association with these three, so that we can achieve the purpose of our human life and fulfill the responsibility of this human form of life. So there are two things: BBC, that is boat, breeze, and captain, and GSS, Guru, Sadhu, Shastra. So we must be conscious of these two things and make the best use of these two things. Let's continue. It is wrong, however, to think that simply by becoming a vegetarian one can avoid transgressing the laws of nature. Vegetables also have life, and while it is nature's law that one living being is meant to feed on another, for human beings the point is to recognize the Supreme Lord. Thus, one should not be proud of being a strict vegetarian. Animals do not have developed consciousness by which to recognize the Lord, but a human being is sufficiently intelligent to take lessons from the Vedic literature and thereby know how the laws of nature are working and derive profit out of such knowledge. If a man neglects the instructions of the Vedic literature, his life becomes very risky. A human being is therefore required to recognize the authority of the Supreme Lord and become his devotee. He must offer everything for the Lord's service and partake only of the remnants of food offered to the Lord. This will enable him to discharge his duty properly. In the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, verse 26, the Lord directly states that he accepts vegetarian food from the hands of a pure devotee. Therefore, a human being should not only become a strict vegetarian, but should also become a devotee of the Lord, offer the Lord all his food, and then partake of such prasadam or the mercy of the Lord. Only those who act in this way can properly discharge the duties of human life. Those who do not offer their food to the Lord eat nothing but sin and subject themselves to various types of distress, which are the results of sin. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3, verse 13. So, very important point, Srila Prabhupada is saying, there are a lot of people who take pride in saying that I am a pure vegetarian or I am a strict vegan. Nowadays, veganism also has very much become popular. So people say this, I'm a strict vegetarian, I'm a vegan. I don't harm other living entities for my food. I don't harm the animals. While that is a very nice thing, people say that by being a vegan, I don't harm animals. That is very nice philosophy. But even by being a pure vegetarian or a vegan, one cannot escape the karma of killing the vegetables or the plant life. because plants also have life. We should not forget this. So, the principle of eating food in this material world has been stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam. It says, Jivo Jivasya Jivanam. In one line, the Bhagavatam is saying about the food chain and the food web that exists in this material world in various ecosystems. Jivo Jivasya Jivanam means in this material world, one living entity, one jiva, is the cause of subsistence for another jiva. That's how this material world is designed. Because we generally think that I am independent. Oh, I am a self made man. I am independent. But no, you're not independent. You are eating various kinds of foodstuffs and you are depending upon various living entities for your foodstuff. So, how are you independent? So, even if we understand the food that I'm eating is also coming because of another living entity, I should become humble. I'm not independent. I have to depend on some plant life for my food. Of course, animal food is definitely not the food recommended for human beings. Flesh is not the food recommended for human beings. Even if you study the anatomy of human body, our human body anatomy resembles the anatomy of herbivorous animals more closer than any carnivorous animals. For example, if you take a tiger or a lion in the jungle, it does not simply sit in one place and try to get the food. It goes and hunts. And nature has provided various abilities for the bodies of tigers and such carnivorous animals to hunt their food and eat. So they have sharp claws, their body is very strong, so their nails are very sharp. And just if a tiger or a lion it attacks a deer with its nail, it can tear open the skin and you know take out the flesh and eat the flesh. This ability this carnivorous animals have. But if you take a look at our nails, are our nails as strong as a tiger or a lion's nails, claws? Definitely no. That means this feature is not built in our body, in human body. That means according to nature's design, human beings are not meant to hunt animals and eat. That is not how we should secure our food, right? Apart from this, even if you see, there are other bodily features. Hmm. In the carnivorous animals, the saliva itself contains so many protein digesting enzymes, which is not there in case of human beings to that extent. Even the teeth of the carnivores, they have sharp protruding canines, the side tooth, they protrude outside, they are very sharp, so that when a tiger bites an animal, you know, the sharp canines, they actually go into the neck of the flesh of the animal and they destroy the tissues. So they have this ability. We don't have any of these abilities. So it is not correct to take up a carnivorous diet. So just because we are very intelligent, oh, I'm not able to hunt the animal, but I can somehow, catch an animal or I can rear an animal husbandry. And since the animals cannot protest, I will have, through technology, I will have big slaughterhouses where I have various arrangements to kill the animals, innocent animals, such that I can produce huge amount of flesh and satisfy my taste buds. Now this is called transgressing the laws of nature. So we think we are very intelligent. It's just the Hiranyakashipu's policy. Hiranyakashipu, when he asked Lord Brahma, make me immortal, he said, nobody in this material world is immortal. Everyone has to die. Ask some other benediction. Then Hiranyakashipu thought of a plan. Directly, I'm not getting the benediction of being an immortal. I will take the same benediction in a roundabout way. So he said I should not be killed inside the house, outside the house, in the daytime, nighttime, by any created being, nor by any animal or human, like this. He put up so many conditions. And when Brahma, uh, accepted and he gave the benediction for all the conditions, Hiranyakashipu thought that now he has conquered death. So if I don't get it in a direct way, I will use my intelligence and get the same thing in a roundabout way, and I can escape death. This is the policy of Hiranyakashipu. Now, modern day human beings also we are doing the same thing. Oh, I cannot. I am not strong enough like a tiger or a lion to go and hunt animals in the jungle, but I can rear animals, domesticate animals, and once they are fleshy, I will cut them off and I will eat. So, in a roundabout way, in a different way, we think we can intelligently uh, go against the laws of nature. But the Vedic scriptures say that when human beings eat animals, they are bound to suffer in various sinful reactions. So anybody who goes against the laws of nature definitely has to suffer. This is a very important point. Unfortunately, the modern so-called liberalists, modern so-called intellectual people, they think all these descriptions given in the Vedic scriptures about sufferings of sinful reactions, these are all fantasy stories. These are simply meant to create fear in the minds of people so that they become religious. No, it is not a question of belief. Whether you believe or don't believe, these are all hard facts. So one who is intelligent, one who wants to make the best use of human form of life, he takes these instructions given in the Vedic scriptures very seriously. And he says, I don't want to do any activity which will cause suffering. Already I'm suffering so much. Why should I act in such a way that my sufferings are going to increase in the future? In fact, the Sanskrit word mamsa, very Prabhupada explains the meaning of this. Mam saha. Mam means me, saha means you. So why that flesh is called mamsa? In Sanskrit, every word has got a very deep meaning. So mamsa means when you are eating the flesh of any animal, it is a deal between you and the animal. Now in this life, you are giving your flesh for me to eat and enjoy. In the next life, I will give my flesh for you to eat and enjoy. Mam saha. Mam means me, saha means you. It's a exchange offer between you and me. That is the meaning of the word mamsa. So one should not definitely take flesh. Meat eating is definitely forbidden for human beings. Of course, if somebody says, I cannot live without meat at all, then for such people there are certain procedures mentioned in the Vedic scriptures by following which one can eat meat in a regulated manner. For example, in the Markandeya Purana, it is said, if somebody wants to eat meat, then he has to select an animal like a goat or a sheep, and he has to wait for the Amavasya, midnight on the new moon day. Midnight, he has to take that animal to a Kali temple. In front of Kali Devi, he has to chant some mantras. And one of the mantras is like this: Mamsa khadeti iti mamsaha. As I mentioned, now I am wanting to eat your flesh. In the next life, you can enjoy my flesh. For this, Kali Devi is the witness. I am promising you. Like that, the person has to chant those mantras, and then he has to give that animal in sacrifice in front of Kali and then accept that meat. This is the process recommended for meat eaters in the Markandeya Purana. Now, why is such a process recommended? If you actually look at this process, it is a very cumbersome process. Markandeya Purana is not saying anytime you want to eat, you cannot simply Swiggy meat and eat at your house. No. You have to wait for a particular day called Amavasya. And you have to go at a particular time, midnight. Then you have to go in front of Kali Devi. Her form is so fearsome. So midnight, nobody will be there. It is so fearful time. And then you have to go in front of Kali Devi, fearsome form. And then you have to chant those mantras. If you know the meaning of the mantras, you know you're preparing for a very disastrous future. That means the process has been made very, very tough. Why? Because the purpose is to somehow or the other discourage the person from eating meat. If somebody starts following this process given in the Markandeya Purana, so once in a month only you can eat. That too you have to follow. You have to be awake midnight, go to Kali temple on Amavasya night, then do all this procedure. Then you eat. So a sane person, he will think, he may follow one time, two times, three times, he may follow. After that, he will think, why so much hard work I have to do? Why so much risk I have to take just to enjoy flesh once in a month? So much cumbersome process. Why should I follow? Gradually, he will give it up. That is the idea why this process has been recommended. So, the Vedic scriptures are telling, Ahara Shuddhaha, our food that we are eating, it not only affects our body, it also affects our mind, our consciousness. That is why it is said, you are what you eat. This is a famous saying. That is why in the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says the designated food for humanity is not flesh, but it is vegetarian food. That is designated food, as we discussed yesterday. Patram, Pushpam, Phalam, Toyam. These are the four categories of food that have been designated as eatables for human beings. Now, even if somebody is a pure vegetarian and he eats only vegetables, fruits and vegetables, still he is not free from the sinful reaction, because still he is procuring food by killing certain living entities, the plants. In majority of the cases, we are eating seeds. A vegetarian person eats seeds. Seed is a potential life form. So he is definitely getting sin. In many of the vegetables, like potatoes or radish, carrot, you have to pluck out the entire plant in order to eat that vegetable. That means you are killing. That is also murder only. So vegetarians are also equally guilty of killing animals, killing living entities, bodies. That is why Krishna is saying there is a particular prescribed method to eat your vegetarian food. Yes, first of all, you should eat vegetarian food. That is the first level of being civic, one step high in civilization. But that doesn't ensure you are free from sinful reactions. You have to eat the food first by offering to me. Krishna says this in the third chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says, Yagnashishta Ashina Santaha Muchyanto Sarva Kilbishaihi Bhunjateta Agam Papa E Pachanti Atma Karanat. Krishna says, those who offer food first to Lord Vishnu, Yajna, and then eat that prasadam, mercy of the Lord, such a person is free from all sinful reactions. On the other hand, people who prepare food for the enjoyment of their own tongue, they are eating only sin with every morsel of food, even though they may be eating pure vegetarian food. So, this is spiritual education, which unfortunately no university is teaching. Imagine every day people are eating sin with every morsel because they are not following a prescribed method given to them by the Lord. That means every time we eat without offering food to the Lord, we are only eating sin. We are increasing our sinful reactions. We are only increasing our future sufferings. If people are educated about this, imagine millions of people, at least those who are sattvic people, they will take it up and they can save themselves from sufferings. So this is the purpose of a bona fide spiritual master. This is the purpose of the Vedic scriptures, to give us the spiritual knowledge such that we lead a sinless life. The cause of our suffering is our own sinful activities of the past. Now we should be intelligent enough not to perform more sinful activities. That is the meaning of spiritual education and training. So Srila Prabhupada said, our Krishna consciousness process is nothing but a tongue training program, TTP, tongue training program. With tongue, we speak, with tongue, we also taste. Prabhupada said, both these have to be engaged in Krishna's service. You eat only food that is offered to Krishna, Krishna Prasadam, and you chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. In this way, your spiritual advancement is for sure. Just by using your tongue, your spiritual journey begins. Right? You don't have to do anything. Just chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And then prepare nice vegetarian food with love and devotion. You offer to Krishna, and Krishna will accept it. Krishna has said this. If you offer with love and devotion, I will surely accept, Krishna says. So you accept, offer to Krishna, and then accept the remnants of food left behind by Krishna, which is called mercy of the Lord, prasadam. And in this way, you can control your tongue by chanting and by taking prasadam. If we simply make this as you know, a wonderful, a vow that we want to follow in our daily life, devotee should follow this vow. I will eat only that which is offered to Krishna, and I will chant the holy names. If you simply do this, your existence becomes purified. Your entire sense control program becomes very easy simply by taking these two things, Krishna Prasadam and chanting the holy names of the Lord. So, Ahara Shuddhihi, Sattva Shuddhihi. So, if our existence has to become purified, then our food has to become purified. It has to become karma free. Karma free food means Krishna Prasadam. So, Srila Prabhupada started ISKCON movement all over the world. And the major thing that he did was made people to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra and simply distributed prasadam. He said just by doing these two things, the entire humanity can be saved from falling into hellish conditions. So it's a very practical thing. So if you take prasadam, which is offered to the Lord, your consciousness becomes purified, it becomes conducive for understanding spiritual subject matter. That is why Krishna Prasadam is very important. So I'll just read the last paragraph of this purport before we close. The root of sin is deliberate disobedience of the laws of nature through disregarding the proprietorship of the Lord. Disobeying the laws of nature or the order of the Lord brings ruin to a human being. Conversely, one who is sober, who knows the laws of nature, and who is not influenced by unnecessary attachment or aversion, is sure to be recognized by the Lord and thus become eligible to go back to Godhead, back to the eternal home. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport to verse 1 of Sri Isopanishad. So Prabhupada is saying here, why we have this, what is the meaning of sin? Disobedience of the laws of nature through disregarding the proprietorship of the Lord. This is called sin. Sin is an activity which we perform by when we disobey the laws of nature, when we disregard, we forget the proprietorship of the Lord. In fact, this is the theme of the first verse, first mantra. Ishavasyam idam sarvam. The Supreme Lord is the proprietor of everything that exists. So when we forget this and we act in a way which is against the plan of the Lord, against the laws of nature, that activity is called sin. And sinful activities bring suffering. Just like when you break a law, you go through some reaction. Suppose there is law of gravity. Law of gravity, if you break that law of gravity, how do you break? Suppose you are walking on the on the terrace of your house. Once the terrace ends, if you continue to walk even after your terrace ends, that means you are defying the law of gravity, and the result is you will fall down and break your bones. So when you are not when you are not aware of the law, you break the law and you suffer. The same thing, the laws of nature we are not aware. When you eat food which is not designated for you, or when you eat food by not offering to Krishna, you have to suffer. That is the law of nature. So there is suffering both at individual level and community level. So therefore, we have to change this entire consciousness from being disobedient to the laws of Krishna. We have to become obedient to his laws. This is called Krishna consciousness. Then we can actually become free from unnecessary suffering and we can experience real happiness even while living in this material world. Vishwam Purnam Sukhayate, it is said, for a devotee who is fully conscious of the Lord, even while living in this material world, he simply experiences joy and happiness. Vishwam Purnam Sukhayate. This is what Prabodhananda Saraswati says. One who has received the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, Lord Krishna, for such a person, this entire material world, which is otherwise Dukhalayam, actually becomes full of sukha because he simply loves the Lord, leads his life for the sake of love of the Lord. He follows all the laws given by the Lord. He does not break any laws. In this way, he becomes truly joyful. This is what Prahlad Maharaj showed us by his practical life. Prahlada means what? Prakrishta Rupena Ahalada iti Prahlada. One who is always joyful to the highest degree. He's called Prahlada. Why was he joyful? Even though apparently he was subjected to so many sufferings by his own father, Prahlada was always joyful. Why? Because he was constantly chanting the holy names, he was conscious of the Lord, and he lived for the sake of serving the Lord. So in this way, if we design our life in such a way that we lead our life for the sake of serving the Lord, we lead our life based on the instructions of Guru, Sadhu, Shastra, we lead our life free from this wrong proprietorship, false proprietorship concept, then we can be truly happy and we can lead a very blissful life even in this material world. So, this is what the conclusion of the first mantra of Ishopanishad is. So, we will continue to read in the next session from mantra 2. There are many more things. Totally, there are 18 mantras in Ishopanishad. So we have completed the first mantra along with Srila Prabhupada's purport. We will read in the next session the second mantra onwards. So before we close, if anyone has any comments or any questions to be asked, you can unmute yourself and ask. Okay, so we'll meet again in the next session. Thank you. Shri Ishopanishad ki jai.
Hare
Vishwaguru
Krishna,
Srila
Hare Krishna,
Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, Prabhu.